Are we going to see more of these moves?
Well, good morning, Francine. It is an example of some tangible effects now starting to appear in terms of how this trade war is impacting industry. And Taiwan is a great example, of course. As you know, it's the backbone of the global technology supply chain. And we have some evidence now, some commentary from these companies. You mentioned Pegatron and Inventec, amongst others, talking about shifting production to Europe, to Mexico, to south of Asia, in anticipation of where this trade war is heading. Now, it's important to note that consumer electronics haven't yet been targeted by Mr. Trump, but the fear is they will be in the next bucket of 200 billion odd or so goods that do get targeted, and these companies are trying to sort of preempt that. But, you know, for all of that, though, it's not a simple exercise either, because these Taiwanese companies have to balance a delicate relationship with Taiwan and China. And, of course, you can't just shift factories and companies overnight without cost and staffing issues as well. So they're certainly flagging their intentions. They're wanting to get ahead of the curve on all of this, but it's pretty early stages as well, I would say, Francine.
And isn't there also an argument that says that the US consumer is the consumer that is spending money right now, and you want to be close to that consumer?
Yeah, for sure, that is the case. And indeed, Foxconn out of Taiwan was already an early mover in that respect. They've shifted production to the US, and we've seen certainly Japanese companies have been doing that for a long time as part of their bilateral relations with the US. And South Korea made an extra effort to offset some of the tensions when Mr. Trump came to office by also relocating production to the US. So certainly with the booming US economy, there is an incentive for companies to be there. It's just that what we see happening on the ground in Taiwan and expectations of it happening with other companies in China as well, not just from Taiwan, is that we will see more of this relocation of production, more of this relocation of facilities and plants to those countries that will be outside of the net for the tariff trade war.
And if you look at the fight overall in trade and the tensions between the US and China, do you think the fault line, or actually the end game, is on technology?
I think it has to be, Francine, certainly at least in that area, because remember, if there's kind of two sides to this. You have the goods deficit row, which is essentially could be solved by China offering to buy more goods, which they have indicated it can do and are willing to do. The other side of it is the structural side of it. It's China's ambitions to create this high-tech, high-value-add, world-class, world-leading economy known as a Made in China 2025. And that's much more of a red line for China when it comes to making concessions on that. The US, of course, doesn't want state sponsorship involved in promoting these big technology companies and the like. And I think that's the harder side of it. Some people call it more of a tech war than a trade war, and I think that's where we'll probably see the tensions continue to play out.